guys, welcome to a recap video because I had to delay Chapter Alpha, the next arc. So I decided why not do a little recap thing quick just to make sure everyone's on the same page. And I want to do a little disclaimer before I get into this because I want you guys to kind of know why I'm doing this. Not because I'm bored, because I'm super busy all the time. But I understand that sometimes my work and my writing and production, or for whatever reason, sometimes things can be hard to follow or hard to keep up on. There's a lot of stuff happening in Season 2 so far, which, you know, it's great that I can make something with so much content in it, but I also want people to be able to understand everything that's happening. And so I'm going to go through the first arc, the first 4 episodes of Season 2, in sort of my own analysis without giving away spoilers, because I recognize that I am actually the director and the writer of all of this. So I'm not going to give anything away. But I am going to go through things that you might want to keep in mind when going into the next arc of the season or the rest of the season in general. And I'm going to try to make this sort of entertaining by throwing in clips and maybe being funny because I'm hilarious. You know, a guy can dream. Let's just get into it. So I'm going to go through each episode and just the important key details to notice and cool things. I'm also going to talk about cool things that I did with the production to enhance it in any way. Let's get into it. And I'm just saying this, I do have a script to follow here. I'm not going to I'm just going to be transparent with you guys. I am following something. So with episode 1, we had the introduction to Umarak the Destroyer and his beast. So we haven't seen Umarak since the end of Chronicle of Biohero Season 1, where he was implicitly turned into the Destroyer by Detrax, and now we get to see him, and he has these new beasts, these new threats to attack Biohero and Vortex and Alexis, and this is his first time meeting them, and he has very interesting things to say to Biohero about his entire agenda. We also get to see that Core Hunter and Rudaka are locked away, and Core Hunter seems to hate Detrax. He seems to not want to have any part of Detrax anymore, and Rudaka is the opposite. Rudaka really wants to follow him after everything that Detrax has done for her. And at the end of the battle, Biohero seems to go a little crazy, start to lose it a little bit, as we can kind of hear the nightmarish tone in his voice at the very end. He's breathing heavily. We also get to see Umarak use his powers to transport himself places using Shadow. The next big thing about episode 1 was that we got to see the Predictor use his final moments in time to tell Stormer and Von Nebula about the origins of the entire universe. This being a paradise island known as Parahia. It fell a long time ago when the brothers Delian and Enola has been more of a prominent character in the past. Delian has not been seen since Rise of Makuta, where the Six Matoran, who evidently had something to do with the creation of Detrax, we have the two main brothers of that group, Delian and Enola, Delian being the yellow one, Enola being the red one. They couldn't come to an agreement on what to do about Detrax. So Detrax entered his vessel and took over, and the life source of Parahia, the Akiyama Stone, broke into pieces, creating the timeline. So that's kind of the origin and everything. The Akiyama Stone took the life and the energy from Parahia and broke it into pieces, and that's where you get all these timelines from. We got the illogical timeline, we got the alpha timeline, we got both bionical timelines. And then the Predictor says something interesting about how there is more timelines and more dimensions beyond the 4 main ones that are in the Will Inferno universe. A piece of the Akiyama Stone struck Makuro and Alex Predictor, and Alex Predictor is the Predictor, the guy that's saying all of this. And it gave the Predictor the knowledge, the ability to know everything about what happened, possibly ways to predict the future in ominous ways, and that's sort of where he got his origins. And it struck Makuro, which gave him the first name Akiyama, Akiyama Stone, Akiyama Makuro. That's just my thing. Gave him the energy, the ability to build a place that could sustain peace within the galaxy, which would end up being the Hero Factory. And then the Predictor tasks Stormer and Von Nebula with finding others outside of these 4 timelines that they have knowledge of now, so they will go and find those. Those are the Predictor's final words, and then his energy runs out and he's gone. And then the end of the episode sort of sees Alexis. She replaces Vortex's broken blade with the black version from his original Rotor blade pack, just as a little sentiment there to him. Xenix is revealed to have new teleportation abilities, which is something new that I do plan on explaining a little bit more of that. Inferno XL and the Illogical Gang, they're somewhere else. Seems a little fishy, but we'll get there. Stringer and Bulk are just guarding the Hero Factory. They're just standing outside, chilling out. And when Stormer and Von Nebula return, they all have a discussion about the big plan, what to do next, and so they decide Well, in order to build a portal or find some way to get to other dimensions, we need smart people. And smart people would be Nathaniel Zib, who built most of the Hero Factory, including the Assembly Tower and the heroes, and Mr. Meriton, kind of a nerdy character that used to work for Detrax that we saw briefly in Rebellion at the very end of it. So, and then Xenix appears out of nowhere because he likes to scare people now, and he just finesses Vortex from them. So Vortex is gone now. So that's about all that happened in episode 1. Let's get into episode 2. Now, I love the first scene of episode 2. We get to see Lance Newman as Detrax, and I've never been more happy about a casting, or recasting, I guess, in this case. We see Lance brings a sort of a malevolent, fatherly figure to Detrax himself. We haven't really seen that much before. We've seen his malevolent side, but now we get this weird, like, spiritual father, like, philosophical feel. I had that written on here. It says he also gives off a new philosophical feel, like he has a bigger plan in store. It's kind of ambiguous in a sense. So I love that scene. The second part to the episode, so one of the creative decisions that I had to make is kind of create a new character chemistry, new character interaction. And so what I noticed from season 1 is that Alexis came onto the team, I think about episode 3 or 4, and we didn't really see Alexis interact with Biohero that much. We saw like a little bit of a spark, like between them in episode 7, where Biohero's like, you need to get up and you need to help us and you need to fight, you need to be on the right side. And so I wanted more of Biohero just getting a chance to be a leader to her. And so in this episode we get to see Vortex is now taken out of the main team equation, and so we get to see Biohero and Alexis sort of just have some conversation, which they really just didn't get to have in the last season. The other thing I thought was nice to bring back was, Vortex and Xenix sort of had a connection early on in season 1, where, Vortex was convinced that Xenix could be trusted, but he's really not. And so now we get to see the aftermath of all of what Xenix did, and we get to see Vortex and Xenix just interact more. It also adds to the equation when we see Vapor and Zarin now return as ghosts, which would be more explained in episode 3. But I think it was just a really fun thing to play with, just to see. So we have these dead characters that are haunting these characters for whatever reason. We also get to see these characters interact in new ways, which was also really cool. And then there is a mysterious scene in between the inner workings of episode 2 where we see what seems to be an unconscious Akimu and Xenix speaking to him. And then at the end of the episode, we're more introduced to the Uniters and Huki and Akimu and all those guys. Tahu has evidently been having anger problems, but they realize that they have a common enemy, and that's Umarak, and that's why they're basically brought together. We get to see Akimu and Biohero have a little bonding time, talk about the future, their plans and all that. But there is something big and fishy that seems to be hidden under the whim of Akimu, Gali, and Makuta. We see that they're having some sort of private conversation outside of any other person being in the group. We see Detrax at the very end of the episode is very unhappy that Xenix doesn't have the will to kill Vortex, and Xenix ends up betraying Detrax pretty fast, bringing Vortex to OKOTO in hopes of finding out why it is they're seeing the ghosts of the people that Xenix killed. In episode 3, it kind of picks up right there. We see Xenix holding Akimu hostage because he thinks Akimu knows what's up. Akimu tells him about the Wairua curse, which is Wairua means spirit in Maori, I forget how to pronounce it. Wairua is also the name of that combiner Toa, like from 2001. It was sort of a callback to that. I really honestly just looked up what the word spirit would mean. I honestly forgot about that whole Toa thing, but like while I was writing this, and then I think it was very recently that I realized, oh man, that's actually a term they used in the original Chronicle. So, my bad. Someone told me I spelled it wrong. According to Google, I didn't. So, but it means spirit, and I thought that was appropriate because Xenix is dealing with a curse where the spirits of the people he killed haunt him. Detrax evidently gave this curse to Xenix. We can also see how he gave a curse to Von Nebula as well. Von Nebula was cursed with eternal life. So Detrax has this way of keeping his servants under control by cursing them. And so Detrax says, alright, well, if you want to be on my side again, you need to get my mask back. So that's Xenix's whole plan for the episode. In the middle of the episode, we see the Toa have been trying to get Huki's friends back for a long time. They disappeared in Victims of the Hunt. And Umarak and his beast come back to OKOTO. And one of my favorite scenes of this whole episode is like a bat signal-esque thing where the Three Virtues symbol goes off, shoots up into the air, all the Toa are looking at it. I want to give a special thanks to Suddenly Oranges for providing that special effect. He did a couple other special effects here and there within the first 4 episodes, but that was definitely the most notable one. At the time, I didn't have the ability to do that, and I'm still learning how to use After Effects, so I do thank him for speeding up the production process a little bit by providing those effects. Detrax sort of asserts his unhinged dominance over Xenix by killing him and then reversing time. It's just to mess with Xenix. Gabby is revealed to be working on Detrax's side, and Detrax claims that his newfound interest is in power. Ultimately. And then the final episode of Arc 1, Cantor, it includes my favorite fight scene that I've pretty much ever done. I absolutely hated editing that fight scene, which probably means that it turned out pretty good, because I hate editing fight scenes. That took me like 6 hours. In this fight scene, we get to see that Tahu and Makuta sort of have this struggle, you know, with leadership and who's taking orders from who. We see Alexis, I can't believe I wrote this. I said Alexis almost gets clapped because she almost dies. It's pretty much what happens. Umarak loses the mask of control, returns to his original form, and then is taken away by Xenix. We see that the beasts are revealed to be people, which to me was a callback. I wrote that because I wanted to call back to, I saw the beasts as like the second wave villains of Bionicle G2, the second wave villains of G1 were the Borak, and so I remember them being revealed to be Matoran at one point. So I wanted to kind of do a parallel here with the beasts. Takua reappears as Takanuva G2, and I want to clear this up because I think some people might have just forgotten what had exactly happened to Takua. For those of you who are confused, I wrote this down, so I'm just going to read it. For those of you who are confused about this, which I get it, because I'll go into it later. The last time we saw Takua was in the middle of Randy, the Red Roxy Rebellion. He was on Mata Nui. Rudaka stole the Mask of Energy and shot him with a blast of energy from it. And the last time he was shot with it, the time before that, he was in his Takua G1 form. He was shot with the Mask of Energy. He turned into Takua G2. And so this time around, he's going to turn from Takanuva G1 into Takanuva G2, which is essentially, then he reappears in this battle, and so that's essentially what happened. And then the final notable detail of this fight scene is that Biohero seems to unhinge himself again. He gets a little angry near the end. The second part of this episode, I love this moment between Biohero and Akimu because Akimu gives Biohero like a pep talk about leadership. I personally love this moment just because Biohero is learning from a guy who's way older and wiser than him and provides some really good stability to Biohero about what he really should be caring about right now. It is also notable that later in the episode it is revealed that he is a bot, so you can take his words however you want based on that fact. In the last scene, we get to see the Protectors sort of have some interaction with the other Toa and Biohero. Vortex and Alexis have a nice conversation, you know, where they've been, where they think they're going. Takanuva and Huki have a conversation, and he nods to Huki eventually becoming a Toa. Not saying that will happen, but in G1 it did happen, but this is G2 we're talking about. Not saying it's going to happen. Not confirming or denying any theories about that right now. We see Makuta and Tahu's relationship has become more strained. Tahu's getting angry. Makuta's just trying to, be on the team, but he's obviously left an effect on OKOTO, so it's kind of hard for Tahu to accept him. Akimu has decided to reveal the Toa's truth, which is this ambiguous secret that Gali and Makuta have all been keeping. He's about to do that when someone shoots him right through the eye right there. If that wasn't a big enough twist, he's also a robot, which means he's a decoy. So I think I had some people ask, like, well, aren't they already all robots? In my eyes, they're like biomechanical robots, so they have mechanical components, but they also have like hearts and brains and all that. This was purely a robot decoy of Akimu, which, yes, in a way, I know that blacked out again, I'm not gonna fix it. It implies that his real body could be somewhere out there, but wow, that kicked back on. You see that? You see that? All right, so that's kind of all I have to say about the episodes themselves. And so I want to say to you guys, the next arc in season 2 is going to be 2 episodes. It's called Chapter Alpha. I won't say much about it now. I'm in the middle of episode 5, like editing it. So I'm sorry that got delayed. I hope this video kind of makes up for it. But yeah, so that's all I gotta say. I will see you guys later.